yesterday, I happened to get on some thread on the internet from, I guess it's TikTok videos of people who are completely falling apart over finances and how hard it is to work, how hard it is to make enough money to make ends meet, how hard it is to survive, how hard it is to thrive. And my initial thought was a lot of the people that I was watching were very young people. 20s, 20-ish, maybe early 30s, but most of them were, probably at the early stages of 30s, if anything, and 20s and 19s and 18s and so on and so forth. I didn't really see any older people, although I have seen them in the past, and I have watched a few of them, but the tone is a little different, and the freak out is a whole lot less. And I wanted to do this video because of that, because I see a lot of these videos where people are freaking out, but I don't see a whole lot of videos responding to them or trying to assist them with their issues. I will say this on a negative note, that I saw a lot of females who were losing it, could not figure out how they can make ends meet, but they have acrylic nails. My first advice is get rid of the acrylic nails. Okay? You can't afford them. If you're on a video crying about the fact that you can't pay the bills and you're working too much, you cannot afford the acrylic nails that are on your fingers. Secondly, those acrylic fingernails are toxic. They're not good for your body. They're not doing you any favors. So they may look cute. Believe me, been there, done that. I used to wear acrylics all the time. And I finally just got to a point where I decided I wanted to love my own nails. Even if nobody else likes them, I don't care. I don't want the toxic chemicals. I don't want the damage to my nails. And I don't want to be taking time out of my life to schedule appointments with people that I don't really have anything to talk to about, to sit in a chair for hours to get my nails done. And I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend the money on those nails. I can think of many other things that I would rather do than spend money on fingernails. Anyway, when you do a video and you're crying about things that are tough, I get it. I absolutely get it. And you are not wrong. And I sympathize with you and I feel for you. I could not even imagine being a 20-something coming up in the world and trying to make a living with all this nonsense and chaos going on in our world. I don't even want to say it's in the United States. It's everywhere. It's all over the world. It's a bad time to be a young person. But please Get rid of the false eyelashes. Get rid of the excessive jewelry. Get rid of the fingernails. Get rid of, all those things that scream, I'm spending too much money on myself rather than on my bills and my other things. Because hardly anybody's going to have any sympathy if that's what you're doing. Now, here is the key to financial issues in this day and age. A lot of you have credit cards. Bad move. Very bad move. And if you can stop using those credit cards, I would recommend that you do that. You do not want to use them because you don't want to have to pay the interest. And the interest has gotten ridiculous. Anyway, on credit cards, if you have, let's say you have 3 credit cards, the way you get rid of those credit cards, first of all, try to sell things that you don't use. Try to sell, most people have things that are piled up in their garages, in their closets, in, all these different places. Try to sell those items. Try to get rid of them. If you have jewelry that you no longer wear, necklaces, chains, things like that, and they're actually sterling silver, 14 karat gold, or 14 karat gold filled even, you can sell those metals. You can sell that jewelry for metals. Right now, I just noticed this morning, $2,500 for gold, an ounce. So that's one way you can get some money. If you have to shop for clothes or household items, things like that, go to the thrift store. Okay? This is what thrift stores are for, believe it or not. And there is no shame in buying something secondhand. If you don't want to go to a thrift store, go out on a Saturday or a Sunday morning and go to garage sales and see if you can find what you're looking for. You may find a whole new world out there. That will save you money. Get rid of everything, like beauty-wise. Okay, you don't need it. You're beautiful enough. Haircuts, nails, massages, even chiropractic appointments. Man, I'll tell you what. I used to go to the chiropractor religiously. Since I quit going to the chiropractor, my body is much better than when I was going to the chiropractor. So, makes me wonder about the chiropractor. But anyway, if you can't afford to pay your bills, then you can't afford to have your hair cut. You can't afford to do your nails. You get together with your friends. You can give yourself haircuts. You can pull your hair up. You can do something other with it. Coloring. You don't have to color your hair, okay? It's not important, and the toxin load on a hair dye is huge. And all those toxins are going into your body. So you're actually going to be doing really great things for your body if you're not coloring your hair or frosting it or whatever you're doing to your hair. That will save you money. Credit cards. I started on credit cards and somehow I got off. Sorry, I didn't mean to. But credit cards. Okay, let's say you have 3 credit cards and you're paying on each one of them. Take the smallest balanced credit card and pay the payment plus a little bit more. If you can double that payment, that would be great. But if you can't double it, so let's say your payment on that card is $50 a month. and you can send in $100 a month. Do it, because the credit card will pay off quickly. Once that credit card is paid off, then you want to take the money that you were spending on that credit card and apply it to the next lowest balance. And pay that one, the payment that you normally pay, plus the $50 or $100 that you were paying on this credit card. Now you're down to 2 credit cards, and you're making double, possibly triple payments on those credit cards. You will be amazed at how fast those credit card balances drop when you're not paying 30% interest on that money. Figure it out. Figure out how much 30% interest is on $100 and multiply that by how many cards you have and every single month, and then times a yearly fee. And you'll be amazed at how much money you're spending that you don't need to spend. Sorry, guys. So as soon as I started doing this video, this big truck pulls up in front of the house with this big water tank on the back. And I thought maybe they just stopped for something, you know. On into it, then the dogs get all upset and they start barking, and it's next to impossible to do a video when you got dogs barking and people outside. And anyway, credit cards, you'll pay them off very quickly that way. If you have a car with a huge car payment, sell it. Seriously, cars have become like houses when I was young. If you can sell it, sell it. Buy a reasonably priced used car. You will lose so much money if you buy a new car. Tons. And if you have debt and you're barely making it and you're buying a new car, you are putting yourself in very bad financial situation. I won't even buy a new car. I will not buy a new car. There's no way in hell. Anyway, so car payments, insurance, shop around for your insurance rates. See if you're with a credit union or you're, with a bank that offers, like a pooling kind of thing. See if you can get better insurance rates through them. Probably, okay, if you have any habits, if you drink, if you smoke, if you party on the weekends and you're spending money on this, if you're doing drugs, if you're doing anything like that, then you need to stop. Okay? You can't afford to party. You'll have to stop. I'm sorry. I hate to put it out there like in the obvious tense, but those things all cost money. Telephones. I have heard people talking about, what was the last iPhone? That it was like $1,600 for the newest iPhone. Are you kidding me? Guys, you can go over to Walmart and get you an Android phone for $150. Go with a straight talk plan, or, there's so many companies out there that all have $30 a month plans that are unlimited. But yet people are paying through the nose for their phone and justifying Every penny spent. $1,600 for a phone and several $100s a month in services. If you're paying that, that's part of your problem. So get rid of the phone if you can do it. If you're under a contract, then might not be able to do that. If your contract is getting ready to end, I would recommend that you find some new plan, some new phone that costs you 1/8 of what you're currently spending. Because things are not going to get better. This is not going to end anytime soon. Okay? Our economy is being demolished brick by brick. And right now, everybody needs to wake up, see what's happening, and start protecting yourself. Okay. Phones. Now, let's talk about food. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people paying a lot of money for a lot of food that they're just throwing in the trash. Okay, it's spoiling in the refrigerator, you throw it in the trash. You don't like it, nobody eats it, you throw it in the trash. You know what my grocery bill is per week? Maybe $20. Maybe $20. I bulk shop for meat, fish, some frozen vegetables, things I cannot grow. And then I buy eggs occasionally. And that's only because, well, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, bread. You guys, bread is lethal. It is horrible for toxins. There are so many toxins in a loaf of bread at the grocery store, it's not even funny. You can buy a 50-pound bag of flour, regular flour at like Costco or Sam's Club or someplace like that for $9 and change, maybe $10. Do not buy bread flour too, by the way. Never buy bread flour. Only get all-purpose. Bread flour is like a whole other thing, and it has stuff in it that is almost as bad as what they're selling in the grocery store. Anyway, that bag, that 50-pound bag of bread flour will make, I'm trying to think. I think I've split up the bag. I did like half a bag this last time, and I've made bread 3 times, and I've done 2 rolls each time. 2 loaves each time I've done it. So that's 6 loaves of bread, and I've only gone through maybe half a bag, if that. So let's say 12 loaves of bread and $10. That means it's $1.20 to make your own bread. And the last I saw, bread was almost $5 at the grocery store. Okay, making your own bread is not a big deal. It's a little challenging at the beginning. It is something that you do have to learn, but a Saturday afternoon when you're not working, you can learn how to make your bread. You can do a bread maker. I recommend sourdough because it's the easiest to digest. It's probably the most healthy. It's a fermented bread. But $1 something a loaf. And I would recommend getting several bags of flour and several buckets with lids and putting the flour in there. You have to freeze it, just so you know, freeze, thaw, before you put it in the buckets. And then crank down the lid, write the date on it, and hang on to it, because you're probably going to need it in the future. Okay? You want to be stocking up on food right now. And you want to do it kind of quickly. It's really kind of important. It's really important, you guys. It's really important. If you are not stocking up on food, you are going to have to go out to find food. And you are going to do things that you never thought you would do because you can't find food. You don't want to be in that position. You do not want to be in that position. And it is going to get worse. Utility bills. I happen to live in a place where, before I get onto utilities, food. You need to grow your own food. Grow your own vegetables. Do not grow things you will not eat. If you don't like eggplant, don't plant eggplant. If you don't like spinach, don't plant spinach. You need to plant things that you will actually eat. You or your family will actually eat. So that would be like lettuce, tomatoes, things like that. Try to start your seeds inside if you can do it. That way you have a little better control on them. Put them out. Learn a little bit about gardening. It's going to be important. Growing your own food and eating the way I'm talking about, by making your own food from scratch. I'm not talking about turn into an organic nuts and berries kind of person. I'm just talking about avoiding preservatives completely and saving money on your grocery bill. And you will save so much money on your grocery bill. You will be shocked how much money you will save if you will just start cooking your own meals. On top of that, you won't be eating all these preservatives, and your health will improve, and you will be able to deal with life, deal with things that are going on, deal with everything. You'll sleep better. You will feel better. You might even get a little bit happier. So, and then the most important part, the most important part is your health, but in relation to this video is you will save huge amounts of money. Huge. So stop going to the store and buying, 5 boxes of frozen pizzas and 3 boxes of frozen chicken for $5 each and thinking that you're doing something, because you're not doing anything. It's just costing you too much money. You don't want to eat processed food, not just because it's not good for you, but because it is too expensive. So that is another way you can cut back. Growing your own food. Growing your own vegetables, your own fruits. That is another way that you can cut back on your grocery bill. Even if it's just for the spring, summer, and fall. Learn a little bit about gardening. Devote a section of your yard. You don't have to be a farmer. You don't have to have 1/4 of an acre. You don't have to have 10 acres. You just need to devote a portion of your yard, and the whole family go out and and spend some time gardening. Garden, uh, there's so much. I could do so many different things. But honestly, there's so many people on YouTube or on Rumble, all these different channels that have homesteads. They garden, they preserve food, they know how to do this. Go watch those videos. Learn how to grow and preserve your own food. And do it quickly, because time is ticking. Like, time is ticking right now. This is something that you should have learned like 2 years ago. And the savings that you will get from just doing this spring, summer, and fall will be amazing. Figure out the things that you go to the grocery store for. Do you go and buy potatoes? Potatoes are one of the easiest things to grow. You can plop down some seed potatoes in the, late winter, early spring, put those in the ground, and at the end of the season, you will have huge amounts of potatoes, pounds and pounds and pounds. And you can cure them, and you can put them in a basement or a closet or something so that you can use them. You can slice them, dehydrate them so that you have them for future use. You just have to get creative, and you just have to get a little bit interested. Get interested in where your food comes from and what it takes to preserve it. And if you can do that for a short period of time, you'll be amazed at how much food you have on reserve that didn't cost you anything. God given, God supplied for a little bit of time in the evenings and the weekends. It's amazing. And then for those people that are young, I get it. I really get it. But you're young. You haven't lived through the things that older people like myself have lived through. I have lived through up cycles and down cycles, and up cycles and down cycles. And though I've never been through a Great Depression like my grandmother did, I get it. I understand it. And I know that this happens. So while it's hard, it really isn't that hard if you will adjust. If you will get through your head that you can no longer afford a $900 or $1,600 phone, then you will be able to adjust just fine. And that is the key to all of this. The way that you have been living is no longer. It will not sustain you. You cannot keep doing it. So you have to learn how to get your needs met in a more effective, less toxic way. And believe me, when you do this, you will probably hate it. You'll probably struggle all the way through it. But once you do it, you will never go back to the ridiculous consumerism crap that you have been taught your whole life. And your life will become much more simple, much more easy, less stressful, more peaceful, more harmonious, and you will be so much healthier and sleep better. The only problem that is going on right now is you have been taught consumerism. You have lived your life consumerism. And now consumerism is going away. Now we're in survival mode. And survival mode is a whole lot different than consumerism. And if you can focus for a period of time and get yourself into survival mode, and that means the bare minimums, when it comes to your electric bill, your utilities, I forgot to tell you this, go around your house and unplug anything that isn't being used. I know it sounds crazy, but it will help with your bill. Make sure your bill's correct. You might even want to look at all your bills for like the last year and just, make sure that you haven't seen any huge spikes or any big changes, and if there's anything that you don't understand about your bill, call them and ask them. Can you explain this? Can you explain why my bill went from this to this? Because there may be a problem and you just don't even realize it. Those are probably the most obvious. I'm sure if you thought about it, there's a whole lot of ways that you could cut back. Hair care products, oh my God, how much hairspray do you use in a day? How much? There are so many things, you guys, that are unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Now, when you're in it, when you're doing it, you think that it is absolutely necessary. No hairspray? How in the hell would I make it through the day without hairspray? Look, I was young once too. I've been there. I've been there. But I'm telling you, times are different. Times are very, very different right now. And you need to cut back. And you need to cut back so much that you can put your head on a pillow at night and go to sleep knowing that you can actually pay the bills this month or next month or the month after that, because some really hard times are coming. So you really need to work extra diligent right now to get everything that you need in line and cut your bills down. And if you need to, move in with parents, move in with your brothers and sisters, combine houses, whatever. Whatever you need to do to make things work, do it. Do it. Abundant times will come again. Nothing stays the same. Nothing is ever the same for a long period of time. We are in a constant state of change. So, look at it for the short term, but make the changes so that you can be okay, peaceful, and calm through the bad times until the abundant times come again. And then when the abundant times come again, you can look at things and say, do I really need to spend $1,600 on a phone? And the answer to your question is probably going to be no. You don't. Do I really need to spend $60,000 on a vehicle? You're probably going to say no. You will learn. You will learn. When the abundant times come in, you will look at things completely different and you will decide what's important for you to spend money on and what's not important for you to spend money on. And I bless you. I know that some of the things I said were probably harsh. They need to be in times like this. I was not being mean. I am being very realistic. And I'm telling you, you need to get control of your finances. Bless you and happy financing.